Welcome back, you guys, to another JZFishing video. And in today's video, we are going to be completely prepping you so you're ready to fish this trout season that's about to happen here in the San Francisco Bay Area around this time of year through typically early to mid-spring. The local lakes stock rainbow trout, which are obviously a fun sporting fish to catch, but they're also quite tasty. So we're going to show you everything you need to know to get your hands on some rainbow trout this season. Also, a little bit of a life update. We were seniors in high school, but now we've graduated, and it's like, what, early October when we're filming this video?
Very early October.
So we should be in school.
But
we're not. Zach, what are we doing?
I'm taking a gap year first off, so I'm taking a whole year just focused on this fishing stuff, and Joe's also doing somewhat the same. Yeah,
somewhat the same thing, taking a gap year, and then we'll see at the end of this year where we're both at. But yeah, so we're focusing on the fishing business, which will be fun. So we're gonna be filming lots of content for you guys, and yeah, it should be a good time.
Yep. All right, guys. First thing you guys gotta want is a very, very lightweight rod. This is probably the heaviest we're going to use, honestly. This rod is probably about 5 or 10 pounds of drag, not very much at all. You can see the rod. I'm taller than it, so probably a 5.5 foot rod. Actually, 6 foot rod's probably good. And then, yeah, the line you want to use for your main line, anything over 5 pounds really for your main line is going to be perfectly fine. We personally like to use braided line just because it doesn't get tangled as much as a mono line. And yeah, super light reel, super light rod, very light action rod. That is what you want to use for trout.
All right, y'all. So next, obviously, most important step is the rig. It's going to be just a simple Carolina rig, but you're going to want to use a small weight. I believe this is maybe 1/4 of an ounce. So you're just going to thread that onto your main line before you tie any of the hooks or anything on. It's super important that it slides on this line. That way, when the trout bite the bait, they don't feel the weight, because these trout can be quite sensitive. Once you have the weight on and you've made sure that it slides freely without disruption, you're going to want to tie the end of your main line to one end of a tiny swivel. This is actually a bigger swivel than what we would use. In fact, if you guys want to use any of the gear that we use for trout fishing, I'm going to put links to everything down in the description box below. So it's a great way to support the channel if you enjoy this content. We actually make a commission off of those links. So if you do purchase from those, it doesn't cost you any extra money. It just puts money in our pocket. So we would appreciate it if you purchase from those links below. Like I said, we're gonna tie up that main line to the swivel. Very simple stuff. And now we're ready to actually tie the main part of this rig.
All right, guys, now that you have your sliding weight here, slide up and down, attached to the swivel, you're gonna wanna go to your main line. So for the main line, we always use 4-pound fluorocarbon test, which is just super light line. If you pull it, it'll break you. And the really main important about this is fluorocarbon, because fluorocarbon is invisible underwater, so those trout will not see the lines. All they will see is the bait, which we will get back into later. So all you want to do is tie one end to the swivel right up here. Just a nice simple knot. Make sure it won't come undone. Be very careful with this. It's very thin, very flimsy, so you gotta make sure you get good enough knots so it doesn't come undone. And then here we go, just tighten that. And once you got that knot tied, we usually use about a 3 to 4 foot leader. You want a pretty long leader because you want those power bait, which we're going to show you later. It floats off the bottom, and those trout usually swim out anywhere between 5 feet off the bottom to 30 feet off the bottom. So you really just want it floating about 5 or 10 feet off the bottom. We have right here, I always do like about a wingspan's length of line, and then Joe's gonna show you, just cut it right here, the cameraman. And yeah, that's the next step. You just have probably a 3 to 4, maybe 5 feet long line of fluorocarbon, and Joe's gonna show you what to do next.
I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. If you are, click the subscribe button. Also, if you're interested, we sell some merch. It'll be linked down in the description box below. Go check some out if you are interested in this channel and want to support the channel. We spawned into a different location, but once you have the leader that Zach showed you on the swivel, you're gonna take your super tiny size 6 hook, thread it on there. And that is the rig. You can tie pretty much any knot here. I think this year we might experiment with some different knots, at least on my rods, maybe not Zach's rods.
Yeah,
But
Zach always stays with what works.
Zach always stays with what works, but I might try something new. Let's see, as a test. But that is pretty much script to rigging up. So like I said, sliding weight, swivel, big leader, small hook. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
All right, guys. So now we're gonna get into the bait version of what we're doing with trout. So our bait of choice is power bait. There's a couple different options. You could use a power bait dough, which you wrap up into a very tight confined ball and just thread the hook through it. Or what we like to use is these little balls that they already do what you basically would do with this power bait dough. So Joe, take the power bait dough, toss in the trash, and let's use this one. So you got our power bait eggs here. We're gonna open it up. Fresh new pair right here. Fresh new box of balls. All right, so take just a couple. All you really need is 2, and you're just gonna put them right. Thread one through the hook. Thread them both through the hook. And you really want to make sure that the hook is still pointing through so that it can go in the hook until the fish's mouth. We're not near any freshwater right here, so it probably will just sink. But when you're in freshwater, what you always want to do is just test it by just putting these baits just in the water and let this weight just sink to the bottom. And then once this weight is on the bottom, if these baits start floating up, then you're good. If they're not floating up, you need to put more eggs on the line, because the eggs they float and they're lighter than water, because that's how that works. Thank you, science teachers. So you need more eggs if it doesn't float. Usually 2 does the trick. Every once in a while you'll need 3. Yeah, 2 or 3 eggs and you'll be all good.
Guys, that's the entire rig. Ultralight rod and reel, light main line to a sliding weight, swivel, 4-pound fluorocarbon to a size 6 tiny hook, power bait balls for your bait. Everything's gonna be linked down in the description box below. And once you have all this stuff ready to go, you just want to cast it out into the water about 15-20 feet down the lake. You just let it sit.
You want to give a little experiment here?
You want us to show you? We'll show you guys how to what you need to do. Flip it back.
Just like that, guys. We're about 15 feet out there. I know you can't see it. Goodbye.